Good morning, students. How are you all? I hope you all are studying regularly. This is your geography teacher Ruchika Sharma with a new recorded video on the chapter climate. First of all, I need to inform all of you that I am making this recorded video because yesterday, because of some serious technical and network issue, I could not conduct my live class. That is why I am making this recorded video for all of you so that we do not miss any of the day, right? So let's get started. As we know that we were doing chapter number 4 of your geography book, that is climate, and till now we have covered few topics from this chapter, and I will quickly give you recapitulation of this chapter, right? So firstly, what we did in this chapter was the definition, or was the difference between the term weather and climate. As you can see in the slide, definition of weather and climate you will be reading, right? So, and this is the topic that we have already done in detail in my previous live lessons, right? So weather means where you see or you consider atmospheric conditions at a point of time, right? When you consider the atmospheric pressure, atmospheric conditions of an area at a point of time. What is the weather today, right? Today, that is a point of time, that is weather. How is the temperature, how is the humidity level, will there be rainfall, right? So all these elements come under weather. And there is one common thing between weather and climate, that elements are same: temperature, humidity, precipitation, pressure and wind. These are all the elements of weather as well as climate. But what is the differentiating point between them is, climate refers to the weatheric conditions over a large area and for long period of time. For a prolonged period, what is the weather condition of an area? That comes climate, right? So what is the climate of India, right? We cannot say what is the climate today. No, climate, that is going to be forever, that is going to be for long period of time, maybe over 30 years, right? So this is the differentiation on the basis of time period between weather and climate. Weather is the phenomenon that is related to a point of time, whereas climate is related to a long period of time. And I hope you people are able to understand this. The next thing that we did in this chapter was the definition of monsoon. Many of you, when I asked you question in my live lesson, you started typing that monsoon is always related to rainfall. But what was the literal meaning of monsoon? Actually, monsoon is an Arabic word derived from actually monsoon is a word that is derived from an Arabic word which means mausim, which simply means seasonal reversal in the wind direction, right? As I told you that in India, during summer season there is rainfall, like the rainy season is going on in India right now also, na? So every now and then there is rainfall in some part of the India, right? So this is monsoon season, rainy season, right? So why this rainy season happen in India? That is because of southwest winds, right? So southwest winds basically are the reasons why monsoon winds are prevailing in India during summer season. And just opposite to it, during winter season there is northeast wind, right? So northeast wind during winter season, southwest wind during summer season exist in India. So this is seasonal reversal of wind, that is called monsoon, and India has got monsoon type of climate. What do you mean by monsoon type of climate? That there is a seasonal variation in the direction of the wind throughout the year. So I hope this is clear. So which type of climate does India have? That is monsoon type of climate, right? And in this particular type of climate there is no uniformity in the elements of climate, right? There is no uniform temperature throughout the India, right? There are some places where temperature during winter season is -45, as you can see in Jammu and Kashmir, while during winter season only South India experiences moderate type of climate, 22 degrees Celsius, right? So you can see the wide variation in the temperature rate, right? So this is India climatic condition. Temperature I have discussed. Like temperature, precipitation level is also different. Meghalaya receives more than 400 centimeters rainfall a year, but if I talk about Thar Desert, Jammu and Kashmir, or Ladakh, this is simply less than 10 centimeter a year annual precipitation I'm talking about. So there is difference in the precipitation levels also, right? So this is monsoon type of climate. We have already discussed everything related to the topics in our live lessons. I am just giving you quick recapitulation to all these topics so that we can start with today's lesson. And the next thing that we covered was climatic controls. So basically, which are the factors that control climate of an area, of any region, right? So there are total 6 factors or determinants that will determine or control climatic conditions of an area, and these are: number 1 latitude, number 2 altitude, number 3 pressure and wind system, number 4 is distance from the sea, number 5 is ocean currents and relief features. You can read out in the slide. We have done these climatic controls in detail, and I have also taken up your doubts regarding climatic controls, right? So basically, if I talk about latitude, then I will simply say, due to the curvature of the earth, amount of solar energy receives varies, right? So near equator, sunlight is direct, right? So equator region is getting direct sunlight, getting it, and due to that temperature will be different as compared to polar region of the globe. Polar region means North Pole, South Pole, right? So equator comparatively receives direct sunlight, higher sunlight, harsh sunlight. That is why temperature is relatively higher in equatorial region, right? So the next one was altitude. Altitude means height. Here we are going to talk about mountains, right? So hills, mountainous regions or hilly areas are comparatively have high rainfall and less temperature as compared to northern plain and peninsular plateaus, right? So in India I'm talking about, right? So altitude also affects climatic conditions, right? If we go up, if altitude is high, height is high, if we are climbing a mountain, as we are climbing up, temperature will go down, and there will no greenhouse gases also, even there is no oxygen also. That is why whenever we think of climbing a mountain, we need to have oxygen cylinder with us, right? So there is no presence of gases as we go up, right? So when altitude is up, right, higher, right? So this was the third parameter or third factor affecting climate of any region. The fourth one is distance from the sea. As distance from the sea increases, continentality increases. That means as your location is far from sea, you will experience harsh winters and harsh summer, right? Extreme winter, extreme summer. In the areas, climatic conditions are like extreme winter or extreme summer in the areas where which areas are located at distance from sea. And if I talk about coastal regions of India, which is just located near sea, then you will see moderate type of temperature, right? So distance from the sea means continentality increases, very hot during summers and very cold during winters. And the next, what is the another factor of climate, that is ocean currents. So ocean currents means the persistent movement of water due to wind direction, right? Waves of the ocean, right? So ocean currents along with onshore winds affect the climate of the coastal areas. For example, any coastal area with warm or cold currents flowing past it will be warmed or cooled if the winds are onshore. So basically warm currents are there, so area will be warm, cold currents are there, area will be cold. The last factor that affects the climate of a region, that is relief feature. Relief feature means physical features. Like in India we have 6 different physical features. We see Himalayan mountains, we see northern plains, peninsular plateau, Thar desert, islands, coastal plains, right? So these 6 different physical features also affect climate of their prospective region, right? So like if I talk about Himalayas, then Himalayas act as a barrier for cold or hot wind, right? So basically Himalayan regions have separate type of climate as compared to northern plains, right? So relief feature of a area also affects climate. So this is a topic that we discussed under the heading of climatic controls of a region. So the last topic that we were covering in our previous lesson was factors affecting India's climate, and these are same, right? So factor affecting climate of any region will be same, right? Latitude, altitude, pressure, wind, ocean currents, distance from sea, relief features. So these 6 affect India's climate too. So let's discuss these, right? So number 1 was latitude. Latitude, which I talked about, that is Tropic of Cancer. We know that Tropic of Cancer divides India into 2 equal halves, right? South India and North India. South India experiences high temperature. Why? Because it is quite near to equator, right? So because of being near to equator, South India experiences high temperature, right? But if I talk about North India, like Jammu, Kashmir, Punjab, here you can see different type of climate. Temperature is comparatively higher during summers, right? So this is a latitude that we discussed under factors affecting India's climate. The next we talked was altitude, and I have already told you about Himalayas. This is the topic that I have just given you quick recapitulation. India has mountains to the north which have an average height of about 6,000 meter. India also has a vast coastal area where the maximum height is about 30 meters. So the Himalayas prevent the cold winds from Central Asia, from Tibet side. It does not allow cold wind to enter India. Otherwise India's climate would be very polar type of climate, right? Because cold winds were there. But because of Himalayas, those cold winds cannot enter India. That is why India has monsoon type of climate. So altitude also affect climate of India, right? And altitude mein basically we are talking about Himalayas. And the next one that we discussed and was very important, that pressure and winds. So this factor we have discussed in 3 parts. First is pressure and surface winds. Second is upper air circulation, and the third one is western cyclonical disturbances and tropical cyclones. So let's discuss about each of these in detail. Have covered and we have learned that pressure is like low pressure and high pressure near equator where there is direct sunlight, temperature is very high, land gets heated up very easily. Because of land heated up, air masses flow up in the sky and they basically creates low pressure. This is the creation of low pressure when, because of the direct sunlight, equator region gets heated up and air masses are flowing up, and after reaching atmosphere it gets horizontally diverging, right? So it is diverged horizontally after entering into the atmosphere of earth, right? So this is the creation of low pressure. After getting horizontally bifurcated, they are entering in the region where there is high pressure, right? There is absence and there is empty space, so that they can get entered in the earth and subsided, right? So air masses, after getting horizontally separated, enters back in the earth, and they have to subside in the earth again. So they subside in the areas where there is empty space for them. So when they are entering the earth back, this is called high pressure creation. When air masses are flowing up in the sky, in the atmosphere, this is called low pressure, and when they subside or they re-enter the earth surface, that is called high pressure creation. I hope this is, you all have got till now, right? So high pressure, low pressure, we have done this, you have already learnt about these. So the next is one more thing, that on if I talk about surface winds, winds means what is the direction of wind on the surface of the earth. So I have told you upper air circulation is like low pressure to high pressure. Low pressure means when because of sunlight air masses are evaporating, are flowing up, right? After flowing up, this is what I'm telling you, upper air circulation. After going up, they get horizontally diverged, and after that they re-enter earth. This is called high pressure, right? So upper air movement is like low pressure to high pressure, but this is simply reverse in case of surface winds. So if I talk about surface wind, then pressure is like, or we can say that wind movement is like from high pressure to low pressure. Just you need to fix these things in mind. Surface winds flow from high pressure to low pressure, while upper air circulation is like low pressure to high pressure, right? Again, I am repeating, surface winds from high pressure to low pressure, upper air circulation is like low pressure to high pressure. I hope this is clear to all of you. Now let's talk about these in context of India. So first thing that we are all aware of, that India lies in the region of northeasterly winds, right? So during winter season, I have already told you that what type of winds does prevail in India, that is northeast wind. And I have also told you how to name any direction of the wind, that is you have to look at the tail, right? So India lies in the region of northeastern winds. Why? Again, we can correlate it with pressure, like near equator, air masses flow up, after getting horizontally diverged, it enters in temperate region, subtropical region, right? So after getting there, in the northeast, in northeast India, winds are subsided and they are flowing from high pressure to low pressure. So where is low pressure? That is near equator, that is towards south of the India, right? And low pressure is northwest of the India. So winds basically are flowing to are basically flowing from northeast to southwest. I hope this is clear to all of you. So India lies in the region of northeasterly winds, and these winds originate from the subtropical high pressure belt of the northern hemisphere. See, I told you that where is the high pressure winds. We know that surface winds will be flowing from high pressure to low pressure. Now simply discuss where is high pressure in India. High pressure is basically originated in the India in northeastern direction, right? So high pressure is northeast direction, low pressure is southwest direction near equator, right? So surface wind be from high to low pressure, so basically from northeast to southwest. So I hope this is clear to all of you. So they blow south. And one thing more, we have talked that winds do not flow in straight line, right? Winds do not follow straight path, it gets deflected, right? So it is Coriolis force that results in the deflection of wind direction, right? So what is Coriolis force? We have already discussed in my live lesson that due to the earth's rotation, there is one force that does not allow wind to move in the straight direction. Actually, it forces winds to get deflected. And if wind is in north direction, like we say that high pressure is in North India, so if I talk about north wind, then winds in the north direction gets deflected towards right, and when winds will be flowing from South India, they will be deflected towards their left. So deflection is because of Coriolis force, right? So what is Coriolis force? That is the force that is created by the earth's rotation, right? And this is responsible for deflecting winds towards the right in the northern hemisphere and towards the left in the southern hemisphere, right? So this is what we have already learned, right? But let's talk about now northeast winds that basically flows in India, that basically high pressure to low pressure, right? High pressure is created in the northeastern direction of India, that is why north and east winds flow in India. Now northeast winds is basically originating over land, over dry area, so they will not carry any kind of moisture in them. So if they will not carry any kind of moisture, they will not cause rainfall. Getting my point? What I am trying to tell you, that if we talk about northeast winds, then we know that northeast winds is because of high pressure in northeastern side of India. So these winds are originating from land. Land does not carry any kind of moisture, so they will never bring rainfall to India, and India will always have arid type of climate. And do you think India has arid type of climate? No, we see rainfall. This is the monsoon season going on right now, right? So India does not have arid type of climate. Why? Because during summer season there is total reversal of the wind. It is reversed from northeast winds to southwest winds. So basically during summer season, due to the seasonal variation in winds, like northeast wind cannot bring rainfall in India, but after getting reversed, right, during summer season there is always southwest wind flowing in India, like from Tamil Nadu to Meghalaya, to Tamil Nadu to eastern states of the India. So basically southwest winds brings rainfall in India. That is why we can simply claim that the pressure and wind conditions over India are unique. Climatic conditions of India are unique. During winter there is a high pressure area north of the Himalayas. Cold dry winds blow from this region to the low pressure areas over the oceans to the south. But in summer a low pressure area develops over interior Asia, basically near Himalayas there is low pressure area created, right? So this causes a complete reversal of the direction of the wind during summer season. Air moves from high pressure over the southern Indian Ocean in a southeasterly direction and crosses the equator. Basically southwest monsoon winds are responsible for carrying moisture in India and bring widespread rainfall over the mainland of India. So this was all about pressure and surface wind. Now let's talk about the next very important factor that affects the climate of the India, that is upper air circulation. Just now I have told you what is upper air circulation. So what is upper air circulation? Let's come to again pressure, basic concept of pressure. And in the image you can see that the red highlighted part is the upper air circulation. When sunlight is directly reaching near equator region of the globe, right, so that equator region land will be heated up. Because of that heat creation, air masses will flow up, they will enter atmosphere, and this is the starting of upper air circulation. At entering atmosphere, air masses actually gets horizontally diverged, right? After getting horizontally diverged, they are again entering earth's surface where high pressure is there. So upper air circulation is like from low pressure to high pressure, right? And this only upper air circulation is has important component, that is jet stream. So what is jet stream? In India, upper air circulation is all about jet streams. So what is jet streams? Jet streams basically are fast blowing winds blowing in upper atmosphere, right? So basically jet stream is a narrow belt of high altitude, of high speed westerly winds in the troposphere. Troposphere is a layer of atmosphere, right? In atmosphere, when there is fast blowing wind, that is called jet stream, right? Their speed varies from about 110 km per hour in summer to about 184 km per hour in winter, right? So you can all imagine how fast these jet streams blow, right? A number of separate jet streams have been identified though, but in India we are only going to talk about subtropical jet streams. वैसे इन ग्लोब यू कैन सी पोलर जेट स्ट्रीम्स आर देयर नियर साउथ एंड नॉर्थ पोल, बट इफ आई टॉक अबाउट इंडिया देन वी ओनली गोइंग टू स्टडी सब ट्रॉपिकल जेट स्ट्रीम्स, राइट? जेट स्ट्रीम्स दैट एग्जिस्ट इन सब ट्रॉपिकल और टेम्परेट रीजन above equator, right? So you can all see that. So these jet streams are located approximately over 27 degree to 30 degree latitude. So basically 27 to 30 degree latitudes in between these jet streams you experience, and this is also highlighted in the image you all can see. So therefore they are known as subtropical westerly jet streams. Westerly means because they are coming from western countries, from Europe, right? Over India these jet streams blow south of the Himalayas, right? So all through the year except in summer. This is very important. Actually jet stream is entering India and it is flowing towards the south of Himalayas, just below Himalayas, right? In northern plain of India normally these jet streams are entering India and they are subsiding in south of the Himalayas. But during summer season, pay very much attention, but during summer seasons these winds, these jet streams is not located or is not subsided in to the south of Himalaya. Actually they go north to the Himalayas. You can see arrow in the picture, right? So during summer season, where is the jet streams located in India? That is towards the north of Himalaya, and this only position north of the Himalaya position that actually allows south winds to enter India and to get subsided in eastern countries, and that is why southwest wind bring a lot of rainfall, right? Actually now question arises, why do jet streams shifted from south of Himalayas to north of Himalayas? Like throughout the year it is blowing towards the south of the Himalayas, but only during summer season when monsoon season is there jet streams are flowing towards the north of Himalaya and they are not going to enter India and subside here. Why? Because of the existence of ITCZ, right? Intertropical convergence zone, right? So ITCZ, we will be talking about this in next segment of this video. Till now you just keep remembering one thing, that jet streams are fast blowing winds in the upper air circulation and they are entering into from western countries and they are subsiding in towards the south of Himalayas throughout the year, but only during monsoon season, only during summer season jet streams are towards the north of the Himalayas. Why? Because during summer season jet streams cannot get space towards the south of Himalayas. So who has got that space in summer season? So that is ITCZ, because ITCZ is there during summer season in India. That is why jet streams from western countries have to subside towards the north of the Himalaya. Got it? So what is ITCZ? I will tell you later on. So the last component of this topic that is left, that affects the climate of India very much, that is the western cyclonical disturbances. So basically I will tell you are weather phenomena of the winter months. Only during winter months you see western disturbances, right? So during winter season, this is the phenomena brought in by the westerly flow from the Mediterranean region, right? You know that in Europe there is Mediterranean Sea, right? Dead Sea. In Europe you can see Dead Sea in the globe, Mediterranean Sea in the globe. So you just simply have idea that during winter season in Europe, in Mediterranean Sea, there is low pressure creation, like, right? So when there will be low pressure in Mediterranean Sea, there will be low pressure creation, or there will be a upper air circulation also. So air masses will be flowing up, entering upper air circulation, and they will be horizontally diverged. After getting horizontally diverged, there will be jet streams, very fast blowing winds, and they will be flowing from Mediterranean Sea, and they will be entering India, right? So this is the jet stream that I was talking about last time, right? So this is the jet stream that enters India, right? So and gets subsided in south of the Himalayas during winter season I'm talking about, right? So they usually influence the weather of the north and northwestern regions of the India. Tropical cyclones, and now we are going to talk about tropical cyclones. So basically during winter season we see sometimes rainfall, sometimes it's raining, right? So it is very benefited for India, like India is benefited from western disturbances. How India is benefited? Just pay one more time attention here, that how is India benefited from western disturbances? Because during winter season these western disturbances brings jet streams in India, and jet streams, as they are originating from sea, they carries moisture in them, right? So they are carrying moisture and then they enters India, they are flowing, or they are blowing towards the south of the Himalayas. And when they will try to climb Himalayas, when jet streams from western countries will try to climb Himalayas, they are carrying moisture, so basically there will be rainfall. So whenever you see rainfall during winter season, as I told you, during winter season वैसे there is northeast wind flowing and it does not carry any type of moisture. India is arid during winter season, but still we see sometimes rainfall in winter season. That is because of the jet streams. That is because of the western cyclonic disturbances. Mediterranean Sea is the responsible for carrying rainfall in India. See, you can see everything is connected in globe. I am talking about European disturbances, and this carries rainfall in Indian climate. You just imagine everything is connected, right? So this was western disturbances. Now one more type of cyclone is there. You can see in the picture, in Indian Ocean there is also cyclone, that is tropical cyclone. As Indian Ocean lies in the region of tropical, that is why tropical cyclones are there, and these tropical cyclones brings rainfall in the coastal areas of the India, right? So if I talk about tropical cyclones, these occur during the monsoon as well. As now in winter season we have western disturbances, and during monsoon and October November month we have tropical cyclones, and this also disturb or affect the coastal regions climate, right? So now you can all see that during winter season if there is rainfall in India, that is because of western cyclonic disturbances, and in summer season we have near coastal area tropical cyclones. That is why they carry moisture and bring rainfall in India. This was the 5 factors that affect the climate of India. One was latitude, Tropic of Cancer you can relate to. Second is altitude, Himalayan you can relate to. Third was pressure and wind. Just now I told you that what is the direction of wind during summer season and winter season, right? Southwest wind bring monsoon to India, right, during summer season, and in winter season we have northeast wind. See, these two different type of directions exist in India, right? Wind direction exists in India. Then we talked about upper air circulation, right, where jet streams you read about, and western disturbances, Mediterranean Sea low pressure creation, and how it enters south of Himalayas and carries sometimes rainfall in winter season of India. So these are the factor affecting climate of India. Now the very important and very long topic of this chapter is going to get started, and this is the Indian monsoon, right? So we know that the climate of India is strongly influenced by monsoon winds, that is southwest winds. Actually, how we come to know that there is two types of winds flowing in India during winter season, or throughout the year there is northeast winds flowing in India, but during summer season, during rainy season, this is southwest winds that bring rainfall in India. Actually, we know that initially when trade movement started and we started exchanging goods and services with other countries, it is the sailors who observed that in India there is northeast winds during winter season and there is southwest winds during summer season. Actually, the sailors who came to India in historic times were one of the first who have noticed the phenomenon of the monsoon. They benefited from the reversal of the wind system as they came by sailing ships at the mercy of winds. Actually, initially, now the ships are very mechanical, they are moving with machines, but initially ships, when historical times were there and there was no industrialization and modernization, so during that time ships were sailing according to the direction of the wind. So wherever, like we can quote here example of kite, right? So kite ko you cannot control yourself na, so it is wind. If wind is flowing in east direction, kite will be in east direction, right? So likewise, during historical time when ships were sailing, so they were according to wind direction. So during summer season it was southwest wind that brought ships of foreign countries in India, and after staying here for 4 long months, they did shopping, they did exchange of goods and services with Indian traders, right? After staying here for 4 months, they are actually northeast winds now. Because of northeast winds, they were again going back to their countries, right? So this reversal, southwest winds, so they came in India, right? Northeast winds, so they go back to their countries. So this reversal direction of the wind system of India benefited sailing ships, right? I hope this is the thing you have till now understood. So that is why monsoon means reversal, seasonal reversal of the wind system. Actually, Arab traders I am talking about. So sailors belong to Arab countries. So Arabic word monsoon, that is why monsoon type of climate they named India has, right? So I hope you have got the connection, right? So this is the Indian monsoon. Now the only topic that we are going to cover in this video lesson is the monsoons that are which are the facts or which are the mechanism upon which monsoon in India depends. So basically there are 5 facts upon which monsoon winds are entered in India. That is why we see monsoon during summer season in India. Which are the 5 causes which are responsible for the monsoon winds in India? Number 1 is differential heating and cooling of land and water. You can see in your NCERT book, page number 30, left hand side, first highlighted point, the differential heating and cooling of land and water, right? So this is the property of land and water that I have told you many times, that land gets heated up and cooled down very easily. When there is sunlight, land will be heated up, but it's sea, it's water which gets a lot of time to heat up, right? So if there is sun, land will be heated up or water will not be heated up. water will take hours to get heated up, right? During night it will be heated up, right? So this is the difference in heating and cooling of land and water that creates low pressure and high pressure, right? So there will be low pressure on land of India, and whereas sea experiences high pressure, right? So wind movement will be from high pressure to low pressure, like from Indian Ocean towards the eastern states of India. Let's revise this. Now during summer season, land is heated up, so there is creation of low pressure. Indian mainland is heated up due to direct sunlight, right? So that is the we can say that is what we call low pressure creation. So low pressure is created on the mainland of India, on the land of India, basically in India low pressure is created. When we talk about Indian Sea, because sea does not get heated up very easily during summer season, right? Because it consumes a lot of time to heat up water. That is why during summer season low pressure is created on the land, but there is still high pressure in sea, because sea water is still cooled, is still cold, right? So there is no warm ocean currents, right? So basically low pressure existed during summer season in Indian Ocean, and high pressure is on the land of the earth. So surface wind will be from high pressure to low pressure. So basically from sea, from south of India towards the east of India, right? Where is low pressure from high to low, that is southwest winds flow in India, right? As these southwest winds are flowing in India during summer season, so these southwest winds are basically originating from Indian Ocean, that is why carries moisture and brings rainfall in India. So this is the first reason. The second reason is very important, and just now I told you that jet streams coming from western disturbances are going to locate towards the north of Himalaya. Why I did so? Because I said during summer season there is no space for jet streams to come towards the south of Himalayas. Where is that space gone? That is consumed by ITCZ. So what is ITCZ? That is intertropical convergence zone. The intertropical convergence zone is basically a belt, a broad trough of low pressure in equatorial latitudes. So basically you can see in the image ITCZ is given, that mostly ITCZ is located near the equator of the globe, right? So that is low pressure belt. You can simply say that 5 degree north, right? About 5 degree north of the equator. This is what ITCZ, a low pressure belt. I told you now what is low pressure. That is equator is getting direct sunlight. That is why land is heated up, and that is why air masses are flowing up. So this is low pressure creation, and this whole belt is called ITCZ. So this is ITCZ near equator. Normally they are located near equator. So I told you, whenever any area gets direct sunlight, that area will be heated up, and where you will find ITCZ, right? So I told you, no doubt during winter season it's equator that gets direct sunlight from sun. But there is one more phenomenon, that is revolution, right? So rotation and revolution of earth causes ITCZ to shift from equator to temperate region, right? Because during summer season it is northern hemisphere that gets direct sunlight, not equator, right? So as earth is revolving around sun, so not always equator gets direct sunlight. It is sometimes southern hemisphere and sometimes northern hemisphere that gets direct sunlight. And during summer season it is northern hemisphere that gets direct sunlight, and northern hemisphere land gets heated up. So basically their air masses flow up, and there is the creation of ITCZ. Got it? So not throughout the year ITCZ is located near equator. Sometimes it is located in northern hemisphere, right? So this is where during summer season towards the south of Himalayas because of direct sunlight, there exists ITCZ, intertropical convergence zone, right? So the shift of the position of ITCZ in summer over the Ganga plains, right? So this also creates low pressure, right? I told you na that the first reason was the differential heating and cooling system on land and water that creates low pressure on land. The next reason why double low pressure is created on the eastern part of India, northeastern part of India, that's because the existence of or emergence of ITCZ. So ITCZ always is created in the region of low pressure. So basically double low pressure is created in northeast India. So basically I'm telling you why low pressure is created on the surface of India or the mainland of India, and why high pressure is there in Indian Sea. So the next reason why high pressure is there coming from Indian Sea, that is the existence of the presence of the high pressure area east of Madagascar. Madagascar is located in near South Africa, right? Near Africa you will find in globe Madagascar, right? From Madagascar, actually this is high pressure creation, right? So high pressure winds are coming also from Madagascar. That is why high pressure is basically found in Indian Ocean also, like, so they are crossing Indian Ocean, right? So the presence of high pressure area east of Madagascar, approximately at 20 degrees south over the Indian Ocean, the intensity and position of this high pressure area affects Indian monsoon too. So basically southwest brings moisture from this area also, right? And the next reason why during summer lands is heated up or low pressure is created, the third reason low pressure creation on the land of the earth, first was differentiating heating and cooling system of land and water, second was ITCZ, and third is Tibetan plateau. We know that towards the north of Himalaya there is Tibet. You can see in the map there is Tibet, and in Tibet what do we have? That is Tibetan plateau, which is equivalent to Himalayan mountains in height, right? So we know that plateaus are getting here direct sunlight during summer season because northern plain is facing sunlight, direct sunlight. So that is why plateau also gets heated up, and that is why low pressure creation is there on the mainland of India. And the last reason is the movement of the westerly jet streams towards the north of Himalayas. This is also I have already told you. So I am going to recapitulate, or I am going to summarize the 5 causes of low pressure and high pressure creation that brings monsoon winds in India. First is differentiating heating and cooling of land. So land is heated up during summer, so that is why low pressure creation. Water does not get heated up very easily, so high pressure creation is there, right? So high pressure wind to low pressure wind, from southwest to northeast wind you can see in summer season in India. The second reason is ITCZ. ITCZ means low pressure belt creation. Now how do this belt create? How does this belt get emerged? That is because of the direct sunlight, right? So during summer season it is northern hemisphere that gets direct sunlight, so low pressure is created here. That is the emergence of ITCZ, right? So the third fact is that the existence of Madagascar. So high pressure air is also coming from east of Madagascar, that also carries moisture for south west winds in India. The fourth reason is Tibetan plateau, like towards the north of Himalayas there is Tibet and there is Tibetan plateau also gets heated up very easily. That is why low pressure creation near northeast India. So the last and very important reason was the jet streams. Initially jet stream during winter season are flowing from west of winter season, actually jet streams coming from western disturbances are flowing towards the south of Himalayas, but immediately after ITCZ has emerged there, so there is no vacant space for them, so they are basically going to get flown from north of Himalayas. So these 5 reasons brings rainfall in India. So this is the only topic that we are going to study here, right? So I will be discussing in my next live lesson of geography what kind of questions you will be asked in question paper. So thank you for joining me, and keep revising, and don't miss this recorded video, right? Thank you so much.